Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the India-Qatar strategic partnership. Now, this isn't just about international relations. We're talking about India's energy security, massive investments, and a relationship that's absolutely critical for our future. We're going to break it all down into the key points you'll need to ace your exams. So, here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to explore this relationship through 6 key pillars. This will give you a really clear framework, a way to structure your answers perfectly. From the high-level politics to our energy future, we've got you covered. All right, first up, let's talk about the foundation of it all, the political handshakes. You see, this partnership isn't new. It's been built on decades of consistent high-level engagement. So let's trace the timeline of these crucial meetings. Just look at the sheer frequency of these visits. This isn't just about diplomatic photo ops, right? It's a very clear signal of a sustained commitment from both sides. These meetings are where the big deals get hammered out and where strategic goals get aligned. This kind of back and forth is exactly what a strong, healthy partnership looks like. Okay, for everyone studying for exams, here's a little trick. To remember the key agreements from that big 2016 visit, just think of the word SHIST. S is for skill development, H for health, I for investment in India's National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, F for financial intelligence, and T for tourism and trade. This mnemonic is a super handy way to recall how the partnership was already starting to shift beyond just energy. Let's move on to the economic engine of this whole relationship. And while energy is, without a doubt, the main story, you'll see that things are diversifying pretty quickly. The numbers we're about to look at are absolutely crucial for your exams. The scale of this economic relationship is just massive. I mean, we are talking about bilateral trade crossing $14 billion in the last financial year alone. That number by itself makes Qatar one of India's most important partners in the entire Gulf region. And this chart, well, it tells a really clear story, doesn't it? The trade balance is heavily, and I mean heavily, in Qatar's favor. Our imports are way bigger than our exports. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. It actually points to a strategic dependency. So the big question is, what on earth are we importing that drives this imbalance? And here's your answer. Liquefied natural gas, or LNG. Qatar is India's single largest supplier, period. They provide over 40% of our total LNG imports. This makes them an absolute cornerstone of India's energy security. And get this partnership was just cemented with a new 20-year deal, locking in our supply all the way to 2048. This table is fantastic for giving you some specific examples for your answers. So on one side, you can see India exporting value-added goods, things like iron and steel articles, vehicles, and machinery, plus agricultural products like cereals. And on the other side, we're importing the very building blocks of our economy, LNG, LPG, crude oil, and key industrial materials like chemicals and plastics. Now, beyond just selling us energy, Qatar is investing directly in India's growth story through its sovereign wealth fund, the QIA. A sovereign wealth fund is basically a state-owned investment fund. And these aren't small investments. We're talking $1 billion in Reliance Retail, $1.5 billion committed to a media and tech platform. This shows Qatar has huge faith in India's long-term growth, especially in hot sectors like retail, tech, and finance. Okay, so we've got the economics down. Let's see how all of this builds into the strategic domain. The defense relationship, that signifies a much deeper level of trust and alignment on regional security. It's really a key sign that the partnership has grown way beyond a simple buyer-seller dynamic. And this cooperation isn't just random. It's highly structured. It's all based on a formal agreement from way back in 2008 that gets regularly renewed. It involves real, practical steps like joint defense exhibitions, regular port calls by the Indian Navy to boost maritime security, and a really crucial agreement on sharing shipping information to keep an eye on maritime traffic. All the economic and strategic ties we've just talked about, they all rest on an incredibly strong foundation, the deep, deep connection between our people. This is the human element, and it's what truly cements this entire relationship. We're talking about the Indian diaspora, which is over 830,000 strong. That's huge. They are the living, breathing heart of this partnership. As the largest expatriate community in Qatar, their contributions are absolutely vital to pretty much every sector of the Qatari economy and society. And this official quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the high esteem that the Indian community is held in, this goodwill. It's an invaluable diplomatic asset. It forms a living bridge between our nations that policy and trade can then build upon. Cultural diplomacy also plays a massive role here. The India-Qatar Year of Culture back in 2019 was a huge success. And here's a fantastic detail for your exams. An Indian community group in Doha actually set a Guinness World Record for a yoga lesson with 114 different nationalities participating. I mean, that's just a powerful example of India's soft power in action. All right, so where is this critical partnership headed next? For your current affairs section, you're going to want to pay close attention because this is the most important part. The latest developments are pointing towards even deeper economic integration. Okay, here's a key update you need to know for your exams. The trade mechanism between our two countries has been upgraded. We've gone from what was called a joint working group to a full-fledged joint commission, which is co-chaired by the commerce ministers themselves. This is a big deal. It signals a very high-level political commitment to really push for more trade and investment. Now, this upgrade to a joint commission is really paving the way for something even bigger. So what do you think is the next major frontier in our economic relationship? The answer is CEPA, a comprehensive economic partnership agreement. And don't let the name intimidate you. Think of it like a free trade agreement on steroids. It's more than just about goods. It covers services, investments, intellectual property, the whole shebang. For India, a CEPA could be a game changer, opening up new markets for our service sector and attracting even more Qatari investment, fundamentally changing our economic partnership beyond just energy. Okay, let's take a deep breath and consolidate everything into one single high-impact summary. This is the slide you're going to want to screenshot or jot down for your final revision. All right, let's recap the absolute key takeaways. First, this is a strategic partnership built on multiple pillars. Second, Qatar is our energy lifeline, our largest LNG supplier, with a new 20-year deal in the bag. Third, trade is massive, over $14 billion. Fourth, the Indian diaspora is huge, over 830,000 strong. Fifth, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund, the QIA, is a major investor in India. And finally, the future is all about achieving that big goal, a CEPA. And to leave you with a final thought for your own analysis, both of our nations are at a crossroads. India is working to diversify its energy sources, and at the same time, Qatar is working hard to diversify its economy away from oil and gas. Now, this presents both a challenge and an immense opportunity. How this relationship evolves beyond a simple buyer-seller dynamic, well, that's what will define the next chapter of this incredible partnership. Thank you for joining this explainer.